Can't nobody take my pride. Can't nobody hold me down. Oh no.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at the shocking things we've learned about iconic musicians. Michael Jackson shared his bed with children.
When Gavin was there, he talked about the fact that he shares your bedroom.
Yes.
Can you understand why people would worry about that?
Because they're ignorant.
But is it really appropriate for a 44-year-old man to share a bedroom with a child who is not related to him at all?
That's a beautiful thing.
If you know anything about the late king of pop, it's not that only was he supremely talented and a master of his craft, but he was a deeply troubled person, possibly resulting from mistreatment in his childhood from his father Joe. Michael was accused of disturbing abuse of children in the early 1990s.
There were some allegations leveled at you concerning improper conduct with some young boys. I assume you're familiar with the fact that those allegations were raised. Is that right?
Yes.
While the singer avoided indictment due to a lack of evidence, the criminal case filed against him exposed the bizarre revelation that the singer often platonically slept with children at the Neverland Ranch. However, these children, who included the actors Macaulay and Kieran Culkin, repeatedly attested to the fact that these sleepovers were strictly non-sexual in nature, and Jackson claimed that he would sleep on the floor.
Why should they be worrying? Who's the criminal? Who's Jack the Ripper in the room? This is a guy trying to help heal a child. I'm sleeping in a sleeping bag on the floor. I gave him the bed because he has a brother named Star. So him and Star took the bed, and I'm on the floor in the sleeping bag.
Did you ever sleep in the bed with them?
No.
Chuck Berry was a peeping Tom. This rowdy pioneer of rock and roll was hardly a family-friendly act off stage, and hardly on stage either, if you count the suggestive novelty song My Ding-a-Ling. Case in point, Barry's ownership of the Southern Air restaurant in Wentzville, Missouri. Having bought it in the 1980s, Barry faced a 1990 class action lawsuit that accused the singer of planting spy cameras in the restaurant's women's bathroom for, well, let's say, seedy purposes. Although he claimed that he had placed the cameras there to catch a thieving employee red-handed, Barry ultimately settled the suit out of court for a reported $1.2 million.
Oh, my ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling. I want you to play with my ding-a-ling.
David Bowie's tryst with Lori Maddox.
Ziggy played guitar, jamming good with Weird and Gilly and the Spiders from Mars.
It's impossible to deny that the late Bowie was a god of rock music, a major part of raising the genre to new, unforeseen heights and experimenting with what was visually possible at the time. If you choose to believe the quote-unquote baby groupie Lori Maddox, though, then your idolization of the late icon may be somewhat tainted. According to Maddox, Bowie met her and her friend Sable Starr in 1972 and engaged in adult acts with them, all while Maddox was 14 at the time. Admittedly, Maddox has given different accounts of the story and Starr her own. But if their stories are to be taken as fact, then Bowie's legacy takes on a hard-to-stomach new dimension.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky.
John Lennon abandoned his family.
Imagine all the people.
Despite Lennon's well-known advocacy for world peace, his personal life was much more complicated than his musical output would have you believe. Lennon's first wife, Cynthia Powell, wrote about how the pensive Beatles' fiery temper often resulted in verbal tongue lashings and, on at least one occasion, physical retaliation.
I used to be cruel to my woman, I beat her and kept her apart from the things that she loved.
The final straw came in 1967 when Cynthia learned that John was cheating on her with Yoko Ono. After an ugly, grueling, painfully public divorce, John moved to New York with Ono and was reportedly distant from his son Julian, not seeing him at all from 1971 to 1973. Although John and Julian eventually patched things up, the fact that John left him next to nothing in his will reopened old wounds.
There was a great deal of anger there, but there's also, I've grown up a lot, and there's been forgiveness since then. But it was tough, yeah. It was very tough growing up, that's for sure.
Elvis Presley struggled with substance use.
You should have heard the lockdown jailbird sing Let It Rock. Everybody let it rock.
It might surprise you to learn that, despite the hard partying ways of the rock stars who sprung up in his wake, Elvis Presley was originally a complete teetotaler. In fact, according to Cassandra Peterson, better known as Elvira, he was so anti-drug when I met him, I mentioned to him that I smoked marijuana, and he was just appalled.
A little less conversation, a little more action. All this aggravation ain't satisfaction in me.
However, as the mounting stress of his career got to him, Elvis, in turn, became increasingly addicted to prescription drugs. These included, but aren't limited to, codeine, morphine, diazepam, and pentobarbital. Years after his 1977 death, Presley's primary care physician, George C. Nicopolis, had his medical license revoked for excessive overprescription. Steven Tyler's disturbing legal guardianship.
Well, I got good news, she's a real good liar. 'Cause a backstage and broke such a pants on fire.
Whereas Elvis Presley tried to keep his drug use a carefully guarded secret, Aerosmith frontman Tyler and lead guitarist Joe Perry's hedonistic lifestyle led to the two being dubbed the Toxic Twins. However, even a wild way of life would make it difficult to explain Tyler's 1973 guardianship of 16-year-old Julia Holcomb. The singer was 25 years old when they met, and Tyler took her under his wing for the express purpose of Julia being allowed to live with and date him in Boston. Holcomb's abortion later became a major part of her 2022 lawsuit against Tyler, which accused him of grooming, manipulating, and exploiting her. Tyler denied the charges against him.
Living on the edge, you can't let yourself go. Living on the edge.
Jerry Lee Lewis married his 13-year-old cousin.
Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness and gracious, great balls of fire.
By now, you might have noticed an unfortunate trend in our video today. More than a handful of music legends had rather unsettling proclivities. That's no less true of rock music's first great wild man, the piano master Jerry Lee Lewis.
Come on over, baby. Whole lot of shaking going on. Yeah, come on, baby. Baby, you can't go wrong.
The enormously popular Lewis's career was almost entirely derailed by the emergence of his December 1957 marriage to Myra Gale Brown, who, as fate would have it, was also his first cousin once removed. While Lewis attempted to lie and claim that Brown was 15, the damage had already been done and was exacerbated once it was revealed that Lewis was still married to his previous wife, Jane Mitchum. Lewis and Brown eventually divorced in 1970.
Oh, this is where I first come over and I brought my little 13-year-old cousin with me. Remember that? Little did I know she was really a cousin. 32nd cousin of mine.
R. Kelly's sinister cult. In the 1990s, Robert Kelly was an untouchable force of R&B and soul, imbuing both his own music and the songs of artists he worked with his characteristically playful, sensual style. However, Kelly's music took on a skin-crawling tone following the 2002 leak of a videotape that featured the singer engaging in deeply unseemly acts with a minor.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Kelly was found not guilty, but over a decade later, a deeper web of depravity was exposed. The Ignition singer was accused of holding several women hostage and controlling virtually every aspect of their lives. The 2009 docuseries Surviving R. Kelly proved to be the proverbial nail in the coffin, ending Kelly's decades-long career in the blink of an eye.
One time, one of his friends came to the studio, and he's speaking to everyone, and just a normal reaction, you speak back. Rob would get upset and say, you're not supposed to speak to them. You don't speak to anybody. You just look straight forward. If they speak to you, you don't say anything.
Sean Diddy Combs and the Freak-Offs.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
Prosecutors say that these were elaborately produced events, bringing lighting in, cameras, Lennons.
Here's one you've probably heard about. Rapper and media mogul Combs' accomplished recording career vanished instantly in 2023 when former partner Cassie accused him of heinous abuse. A 2024 surveillance footage recording depicting that abuse sealed the rapper's fate. But that wasn't all. No, far from it, in fact. With October 2024 came the explosive news that over 100 victims of Combs' abuse would be filing lawsuits against him.
Of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. Occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami.
Perhaps the most disturbing allegation against Combs lies with his infamous freak-offs, indulgent parties that found unwitting men and women made the subject of severe misconduct. Combs has thrice been denied bail, having been arrested the previous September on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation for purposes of prostitution.
Can't nobody take my pride. Can't nobody hold me down. Oh no.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Why Lost Prophets Ian Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison.
But there's still tomorrow. Forget the sorrow, and I can be on the last train home.
Unfortunately for the rest of the members of Welsh alternative rock outfit Lost Prophets, former frontman Ian Watkins' despicable crimes have overshadowed their band's music. In 2012, the band was rocked by Watkins having been charged with 13 counts of grave misconduct involving children. We'll spare you the disturbing details, which are widely available elsewhere. A December raid on his home by South Wales police uncovered vast amounts of the offending material. Following trial, Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison, with a senior officer commenting that the singer was potentially the most dangerous sex offender he had ever come across.
Standing on the rooftops, everybody scream your heart out. Standing on the rooftops, everybody scream your heart out.
Which secret shocked you the most? Be sure to let us know in the comments below.